Hey, curious people, welcome back to Coda Curious number 4. Today I want to talk about getting your buttons to do their fair share of the work in your doc. Sometimes you need a button to do more than one thing, and you want it to be dependent on some conditions. So if a user's clicked a checkbox, then the button does one thing. If they haven't, then the button does something else. This is the quick way using if statements to get that button to change its function, but also to change its label so that it says something different. The user can actually see that something different will happen if they click it. This is something I use in almost all of my docs. It's not terribly complicated, but just incredibly useful. So here we are in the Coda Curious doc and multitasking buttons. What you see is I've got my task table here. Now what I want to happen is when someone clicks a task to mark it as done, let's say I'm finished making this week's Coda Curious, mark as done, then it goes over into the done column, so its status changes from in progress to done, but the button changes, and now it lets me reopen that task if I want to, and it pulls it back over into in progress. So we'll take a quick look at how that's done in the formulas. So the label and the action have the same if statement. Each just says if the status is done. So in this case for the label, if the status is marked as done, so the task is finished, then we want the label to say reopen task, and you can see that here. And I've just used the color formula with a white button background to make it a little more obvious that there's a difference in the actions. The alternative to that condition, so if the status is anything but done, then it's green and mark as done. And that's pretty straightforward. The action mirrors that same condition, so status equals done. Then what we want to do is mark it as in progress for the status. So that's what happens when you click reopen task. Then the status changes from done to in progress. And on the other side of the condition, if the status is not done yet, then what happens is it gets marked done. And that is it. You can see they flip back and forth. You get the visual cue as to what's going on, and of course they do change in this cards formula or cards format. Just by dragging, it'll change the status as well. As always, instructions are in the document as well as the formulas, and the link to the doc is in the description. Please subscribe. Every week I'm doing another update, and you can play around in the doc and see how things are done. And yeah, keep in touch, post any comments or questions down below the video, and I don't know, stay curious.